Good Friday morning, and thank you for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get to your Friday headlines. We are tracking new developments out of Edina this morning. Police say a fourth suspect in a deadly shooting has been arrested. Charges could come down as soon as today. This all happened Wednesday near 66th Street and York Avenue South, prompting M Health Fairview and Southdale Center to temporarily lock down. Audrey Russo's in the newsroom with what we've learned.
We're learning one of the four suspects is scheduled for a probation violation hearing this morning at 10 a.m. Now, that's in regards to a different case. It's a felony conviction in a 2025 case where he pointed a BB gun at a woman's head. Now, we're not naming any of the four suspects from Wednesday's shooting yet because they haven't been formally charged. Now, take a look at this. This is what the crime scene on West 66th Street looks like. Police say they now believe everyone involved is in custody, but they're asking anyone with information or security camera footage to contact them. Now, the victim here is 22-year-old John Stroud. He moved here from Texas 3 years ago and was studying to be a plane mechanic. We spoke to his mother, who says the suspects in this case were supposed to be her son's friends.
They took my boy. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm a God-fearing person myself, and I've learned to forgive a lot of things. This is going to take time to forgive. He was stripped away from all of us.
Now, John's family is planning on traveling from Texas to Minnesota today. They want to be present for every court proceeding in this case. Back to you.
Audrey, thank you. Let's take you live to our nation's capital now. Day 70 of the Department of Homeland Security shutdown. And this morning, the clock is ticking to find a solution. A funding bill is now sitting with the House after Republican senators adopted a budget plan to fund ICE and Border Patrol. The head of the union representing many DHS workers urged the House to approve the bill before today, warning failure to do so would guarantee TSA, Coast Guard employees, and FEMA would go unpaid by early next month. The House is not in session today, so it's not clear when they'll take a vote. President Trump is defending the ongoing war with Iran, telling reporters that Americans should continue to expect higher gas prices for now, as he feels no pressure to end the war quickly, but insisting the pain will be worth it in the long run, and also leveling a new threat in the Strait of Hormuz. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Hi there. Peace in Lebanon is a key part of the push for a broader deal with Iran. And while there's good news now on that front, NBC News has new reporting about how the Iranian regime may potentially be benefiting off the war. President Trump standing firm that time is on his side in the war with Iran.
We have plenty of time, and I want to get a great deal.
Counting on economic pressure from the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports to force Iran to negotiate, though the regime says that's a key obstacle to a deal. The president announced he's ordered the U.S. Navy to shoot and kill any boat that's putting mines in the Strait of Hormuz.
We will shoot to destroy. No hesitation, just like the drug boats in the Caribbean.
The president saying the U.S. has total control over the strait, despite Iranian attacks on 3 commercial ships that the regime claims is shown in this highly produced video, and President Trump downplayed.
Their military is totally defeated. They're outside of the little wise guy ships. I call them the wise guy ships, the little boats that they have running around with guns in them.
Still, the president acknowledged the turmoil may keep gas prices higher here at home.
For a little while. And you know what they get for that? You know what they get for that? Iran without a nuclear weapon.
Pressing the case for his strategy as polls show Americans increasingly frustrated with the war's costs and pointing to victories in degrading Iran's military and taking out senior leaders.
They don't even know who's leading the country. They're in turmoil.
Despite those successes, new NBC News reporting finds Iran's regime may have benefited politically from the attacks started by the U.S. and Israel. That's according to a Western diplomat with knowledge of the conflict and 5 Western officials with knowledge of intelligence assessments on Iran. 5 of the officials said the regime is more stable and slightly more hardline now than before the war. President Trump announced a 3-week extension of Israel's ceasefire with Lebanon, negotiated here in Washington. It's between the two governments. And President Trump said the U.S. would be working with Lebanon to help it protect itself from the Iran-backed Hezbollah militants, who are the ones Israel has actually been fighting with inside of Lebanon. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Take a look at this new video this morning of a massive tornado through Enid, Oklahoma. Just a monster here. We know at least 10 people are hurt from this storm, and then some neighborhoods suffered pretty significant damage. Some people having to be rescued from the rubble of their homes. And we know Vance Air Force Base was also significantly damaged there. Right now, there are no reports of any deaths from this storm. Back here at home this morning, Minneapolis Public Safety Commissioner Todd Barnett says he remains fully committed to serving the community as the saga over his renomination took another turn. It all started when Mayor Frey nominated Barnett for another term. The city council rejected his nomination, with some council members saying they were disappointed in his leadership. But then the mayor vetoed that rejection. And after the city council failed to overturn the mayor's veto, Barnett still has his job and is considered a nominee for the next term.
The veto being sustained essentially brings us back to status quo. So that is an active nominee right now. It'll remain on our agenda until that's disposed of.
So at this point, the process now goes back to square one with a nomination that still has to be approved by the city council. Both sides will have to reach a compromise to prevent an endless loop of sending the nomination back and forth between the mayor and the council. The Wolves are rolling this morning after a huge blowout win over the Nuggets last night. Minnesota now leads their playoff series 2-1. That victory came in front of a lively home crowd, giving fans a little more hope for this year's playoff run. Megan McPherson is outside Target Center with more.
The Wolves had it all going on last night. They are now up 2-1 in this series, and the defense, I feel like, really won this one for the Wolves. They set the tone early in this game. Now, this is a great stat. The Wolves limited Denver to a season low 34.1% shooting from the field. That's also a new franchise record for fewest points allowed in a postseason quarter. Let's take a look back at this one. Check out some of the highlights here. First half, watch this. Ant pulls up, drills the three. He had 11 in the first half. Ayo Dosunmu was also incredible, pushing the pace, scoring a playoff career high 25 points, 9 assists off the bench. And Jaden McDaniels, he was locked in last night. He had 13 in the first half, recorded a double-double with 20 points and 10 rebounds. And then later, DiVincenzo with the three, 61-39 Wolves at the half. And then let's watch my favorite moment from the night. In the second half, McDaniels delighting the crowd with this one-handed slam in traffic over Jokic and Spencer Jones. It was just the icing on the cake. Chris Finch, proud of his guys for setting the tone in front of a home crowd.
Everybody kind of winning the battle that was right in front of them was really big. Challenging everything, just making everything hard all the way around, and came out and just set the tone, which is what we wanted to do here at home.
Now let's talk ticket prices for Game 4. Plenty of seats available on the Wolves website. $102 is the lowest I'm seeing. That's for those upper level seats. The highest, over $8,000 for a courtside seat. Man, I wish I could afford that. Tip off here at the Target Center is set for 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night. We just know Minneapolis, St. Paul, gosh, the Twin Cities is just going to be rocking this weekend. And we got to use that momentum to get a win for both teams. We know the Wild got to get back into it, and the Wolves just need to keep this momentum going. Back to you.
Megan, thank you. And she mentioned the Wild there. They're down 2-1 in their playoff series against Dallas after Wednesday night's double overtime loss. But they have another chance to even up tomorrow at home. The puck drop is at 4:30 from Grand Casino Arena. The cheapest seats we're seeing on Ticketmaster, $261. Hopefully the Wild and the Wolves can take a win this weekend. We're taking you live to Pittsburgh ahead of day 2 of the NFL draft. Fans eagerly waiting to see who else the Vikings will pick. Julia Daniels has a recap of Minnesota's first-round pick.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Julia Daniels, and welcome to Minnesota Florida Gator Caleb Banks. That is who the Vikings select in the first round of the NFL draft with their pick at number 18. I'll be honest, I have a lot of questions about this pick in particular because he has a ton of potential, but that's about all we have to go on right now. Here is why I say potential. Banks had to have surgery to repair a fractured fourth metatarsal in his left foot. He suffered that injury at the Combine in February and had surgery March 9th. However, his doctor says, quote, Caleb is on pace to be fully cleared for full football activities in early June. But guess what, guys? Banks only played in 3 games at Florida this past season because he broke the same foot during training camp last August. Before that, though, he was outstanding in 2024 for the Gators, finishing with 7 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. And he entered the 2025 season as a second-team All-SEC preseason selection.
None of this you can just look at in a vacuum. So as we're analyzing Caleb and we're stacking our board, we just stack the board based on the way we see the talent, and you're analyzing everything and including everything, and we just felt really comfortable where he was on our board, and the board fell, and he was the best player on the board, and we took him.
And we didn't even get into his stature yet. He's 6'6", 327 pounds, and he ran a 5.0540 at the combine. So the main question that we have right now is for sure his health. In Eagan, Julia Daniels, Kare 11 Sports.
Stick with us. More news and weather coming up right after the break.